What is up, my friends? Welcome back to Bronco Adventures. And guess what?
Guess what?
Guess what? Did you guess?
It ends with a K.
K?
Yeah.
Oh.
Starts with what?
Now I'm confused. Our Bronco has just rolled over 50,000 miles.
50K.
50K. Oh, that makes sense. Anyway, we want to give you a 50,000 mile review, detailed look at our Bronco. 50,000 miles. Is a vehicle wore out?
She's getting old.
Or is it in its prime? I don't know. I need your answers. Comment below. Let's put a montage together right here of the day we got the Bronco to current. And here we are, friends. 60,000 miles.
Yeah.
We recorded the Bronco hitting 50,000 miles. We're going to give you a review. But that happened
10,000 miles ago.
roughly.
Ish.
Currently on the Bronco, we have got 59,054.
Almost 60.
Almost 60,000 miles on it. And what better time to give you a 50,000 mile review at almost 60? Anyway, we're just admitting to our failures.
Yeah.
Is it a fail? No, we're just out doing Bronco stuff, and miles add up really quick. We've been to Spokane a bunch of times. We've been all over, down to Sacramento. I mean, you name it, we're doing it. Now, I've seen quite a few review videos that are good, but I want to give you an actual review of the Bronco. Not the accessories that we've installed, not the cool things that we've done, crawling up over stuff, you know. That's exciting, but how is this vehicle held up for 60,000 miles? 50 in the caption. Let's go over the exterior, the interior, and powertrain. Because that right there is the three most crucial things. The outside, does it look good still? Where we have heard it, is it rusting?
No.
Possibly. Inside is where you spend, what, 90% of the time with your vehicle? How's the leather holding up? We, upgraded to the Luxe package. Was that worth the money? Let's start with exterior. And I finally have to admit to something. Let me show you. So realistically, the exterior of the Broncos held up quite well, but we do have some body damage. One of the first things that ever happened was on our pretty brand new bumper. We were going up Denver Creek, and well, my friend Ed says, she looks like a Bronco now. That was heartbreaking, but this is only plastic, so I got over that one pretty quick. Then our next adventure up Denver Creek Trail as well, I got a little too confident in my own spotting abilities, and I kind of put the Bronco right on a rock. That sucks. This made me feel better about this. I haven't touched this up with nothing. Left it just as it happened. This quarter panel, to my knowledge, is steel. It's not the aluminum portion of the body. We don't have any rust. We're clear down past primer and down to bare metal in some places here, and it's held up just fine. There is a little bit of a dent here, but we just don't let the little things bother us. Proceeding upwards on the quarter panel, if you can shoot in here, this was probably one of my biggest mistakes. With our roof rack, you know that we had the option to have molle panels or roto packs mounted to it, which was awesome. I love that the Badass Tents roof rack allowed us to do that. Well, what I didn't realize was the brackets that slide in, you have to adjust them up to hook onto the hardtop. I avoided that, so those brackets rubbed and rubbed and rubbed as we were going down the road, rightfully so, because it was my mistake. Well, you can see in there we got some rust going on, but that would be an easy enough repair for a body shop. Pull the quarter off, sand it down, fix it. We're not worried about that. The doors have held up quite well. No issues on this side. This side being the key thing. The frame, how's the frame holding up? Well, the only issues we have with the frame is right here. I don't know why the coating popped right there and nowhere else, but we are starting to get a little bit of rust. But here's the thing. We also live in a place where when it snows, we get salt put on the ground to melt the ice. So things like that eventually get worse. That's easy enough. I could sand it down, hit it with a little black. It would go right away. Probably eventually it'll come back. It's not the correct way to fix it, but good enough. Now, let's go around the front. I have something that's been a big deal. First, let's talk about the front portion of the frame. It's totally fine. No issues up here. Typical little areas of rust, you know, on the knuckle and things, but nothing major. Nothing big to complain about. The bumper, we're gonna hurt the bumper, let's face it. This thing has had about 12 coats of flat black over its lifetime. Well, it's not gonna be the last. But the bumper itself, see that hump dizzy whistle in there? I don't know what happened there. We took our winch off one time and I went, good, holy crap. I'd love to tell you what we did to have that happen, but I don't know. So the factory modular bumper, was it worth the upgrade from the factory? I would say yes, because if you got the capable bumper, it was mainly plastic. You couldn't mount a winch, couldn't do things like that. So having a steel bumper was way better. And obviously I needed it. Now, for the elephant in the room, my hood. What happened to my hood? We get so many people asking us. I mean, it might not be easy to tell, but that's a good dent. This is a good scratch. We do have the factory paint protective film, and it did its job for the most part, but we are down to primer in some spots here. There's a scratch on our sweet sticker, you know. It's less than ideal for what happened. Okay, here's what happened. You remember the video where we installed the winch? I was super excited. Great video. Go check it out. But we went outside and my wife's like, let me get some pictures. We do pictures, you know, for Instagram and stuff. Well, my genius brain went, better yet, do a picture of doing a burnout. Okay, she said. So, did a really good burnout. If I might add. Got some pretty good picture and video out of that. I turned around, my confidence level is here. So, tried to get it spinning both rear tires again. Well, is what happens in this video that we're gonna show you. The passenger rear tire starts to spin, but not the driver. You gotta have two tires, or is it really a burnout? So I was trying to rock the Bronco, for whatever reason, thinking it would break loose the driver's tire. Didn't happen. Is what happens, the front tires hit some ice, and I was then immediately right by the curb. And I smoked this thing right through a chain link fence with barbed wire and everything that came right down on our, at the time, pristine hood. Dumb mistake? Yes. Was it a fairly controlled environment? It was my brother's shop, so he's got to forgive me. I'm the little brother for the reason, right? I don't know. I don't think he forgave me. It happened. It's stupid, but with time, you will see that this gets corrected. But we've used the Bronco. This hood is aluminum, so this isn't going to rust or rot or do anything weird, but boy, it's an ego strike. It just doesn't make me feel good. Now, the Bronco windshield. Let's address this. Ford, let's put in stronger glass. Is there such thing as stronger glass? Like, we have kids, so we don't use glass dishware. It breaks. We use plastic. So could we do like a plastic window or something? Because we've got a ginormous crack going along the entire length of the window. We've got numerous rock chips. Now, if you do remember, we did have the TARS windshield film protection on this, but we had damage before I put that on there. And I was clear with you guys about that. TARS said most likely eventually those cracks are going to happen because the damage is already done. Well, they were absolutely right. We're driving down the road. It was a really cold day. Had the heat blasting. We were cozy warm in our Bronco, and bam, crack went right across the windshield. Hot and cold just happened. So it's not to blame of the windshield film. It's to blame of not doing the windshield film quick enough. But now we know. So when we do get a new piece of glass, that is the first thing that happens to the new glass. The windshield frame. I don't know if it'll be easy to see, but up right at the top, we do have some rocks and some road debris damage right up there. It's mainly just paint, so I'm not so concerned. Normally, we do have our wind deflector on there. We don't now, obviously. But with that wind deflector being there, it's helped protect that. But the damage, yet again, is already done. But the windshield frame's aluminum. It's not going to rust or rot or have any issues that way. This fender is basically pristine. The frame, everything on this side, totally good. No issues. Now, the doors on the passenger side. Well, here again, this is a me problem. We were once again up in northern Idaho running a trail called the Roller Coaster. It was a great day, having a lot of fun. Well, the Bronco steering is what I'm going to blame, not me so much as it was me. But the Bronco steering didn't help me. The Bronco steering got real stiff and it locked up, and it was making this trail that much harder. The trail's technically designed for a 2-door, but we got 4 doors. Kids. Anyway, there was a little rock garden we were going through, and well, I could just hear it out of this side that the scratching wasn't the same as if it was on the rock slider, which, by the way, the factory rock sliders have held up awesome. Here again, usually I tune these things up, but I wanted to be honest and show you guys what we were dealing with. But that extra kind of just made me pause for a second, and I asked, is there a rock on my door? And the jury came back and said guilty. There was rocks on the door, and you can see it right here. Now, again, the doors are aluminum, so we're not going to have any rusting or rotting, but I got into it. You know, it doesn't, it's an ego strike is what it is. You want your rig to still be pretty, but here again, we use it. So learning as a mistake, you know, here it is. The rear quarter on this side, I actually had those brackets adjusted for the roof rack quite well. What you're seeing here was preventative measure. I pulled the thing off after I realized that I made a mistake, and I put some tape in here. Not good tape, but like box tape, scotch tape, essentially. Wrap your Christmas gift. And that's what you're seeing it dirty and, you know, ugly in there. I just don't want to take the top off to fix that because we got other things coming. For the most part, oh, let me talk about this one right here. You remember when we had a high lift jack here? This is going to start a marital fight. Marital. I'm not going to go there. Anyway, Monica did this. Ask her. For the tailgate, it's actually pretty good. Now, the only thing worth mentioning with the tailgate was me neglecting, because I was so excited to get my Bronco, after 2 years of waiting, that the tailgate is just simply not lined up from Ford. It's pretty good down here, but it's really bad up here. But I didn't care. I got my Bronco finally, so I overlooked a few things like that and was okay with it. Now, the last thing to address, the wheels. How have the factory wheels held up? The beadlock rings, the Ford Performance beadlock rings, we have had zero issues with. We've used them, you know, we rotate our spare tire into play because I don't want a brand new tire not being used because they're expensive. The factory wheel itself, other than some scratching and some scarring, the wheels have held up awesome as well. I say this all the time, I'm honest about it. I think a lot of people missed out by not utilizing the factory wheel that was beadlock capable. Even though DOT says you can't drive beadlocks on the street, and we don't, okay? Ever, because that's illegal. But these have been awesome for all the miles we've put on them, back and forth across the country and going to events. I think people judged the book by the cover and they judged wrong, because these wheels have been awesome. Worst case, you could always take these apart, get some sandblasting done, powder coat them, they would look brand new again. I haven't hurt the wheel to damage the material. It's just the fact of the, you know, paint's coming off them. Now, last thing on the exterior, our tires. We are running the General Grabber X3s. I don't know what the 3 stands for, but X has to stand for extreme. I don't know. Anyway, these have been great tires. I would honestly recommend them to anybody. It's a pretty good budget tire. We stuck with a 35-inch tire. It's factory. It's what our Bronco come with, and we wanted to make sure we retain the factory warranty as long as possible. And we did. Haven't had any issues. These tires, I would say, are probably a fairly softer compound than I would want. But with that soft compound comes quietness driving down the road. So they've been really good in that aspect. But once we got on rocks, they did start kind of tearing, chunking off a little bit. But to be expected in the conditions we were running the tire in. If you kept this Bronco only on the road for its life, you would have none of these issues. Maybe a broken windshield, little bit of pitting and chipping around the windshield frame if you drive it, but for the most part, this thing would be perfect. We didn't buy the Bronco to keep it perfect. We bought the Bronco to use it and show its limits and its capabilities, and it is not limitless, not limited, but you just have to be smart when you're off-roading this thing, because you can get into some hairy situations. We've got into some sticky situations, but I've got a pretty good feel for how this thing handles. Guess what? If I feel uncomfortable, I have a winch usually on this thing for a reason. It's not there now because the bumper's bent. I don't know how, but pull a winch line, make it to where you stay safe on the trail. Now, we're gonna let Miss Monica tell us about the interior of the Bronco, what she likes about it, what she doesn't like about it, how it's held up with all the gremlins in the back, because there's sticky stuff everywhere, suckers and gummy bears, and I think there's still a gummy worm embedded in the carpet. But the fact is we upgraded to the Luxe interior. Was it worth it? Let's jump in.
All right, so when we bought the Bronco, we ended up going with the Luxe package, which was, what, leather seats, we have carpet, which probably wasn't a great choice for our lifestyle, but when we bought the Bronco, we kind of assumed that it was just going to be a daily and that we wouldn't be doing crazy things, and here we are. Let's see, the dash is intact. We had carbon fiber in here, but we don't now. Nothing's cracked, nothing's broken, except maybe the steering wheel. You remember how Derek was back at the quarter? Like, Monica did that, we'll let her talk about it. Derek did that, we'll let him talk about it. After all the off-roading we've done, we haven't had any issues with creaking or rattling or anything out of the ordinary for what I would assume every off-road vehicle does. The inside of the hardtop, I mean, holds a seal. We're solid, we're good. The leather in here has kind of started to wrinkle from getting in and out because I hop out like this because we don't have steps. But, I mean, it looks good to me. There's no tears, there's no splits. There's probably some food in here, in every seat, and a whole lot of dust. But everything's held up really well. The only issue that we had were the seat belts. So they pull them out and they wouldn't really suck back in and retract. So we took it to the dealership and they fixed it under warranty, and they told us that it was too dirty. And so we got it fixed, and then literally the weekend after we went to Sand Hollow and the back one stopped retracting again, and we said, okay, we'll pull them up every time. It's fine. Life is short. As far as the back seat, boy, we have had 2 to 3 car seats in here for the last 2 years of the Bronco's life. And as much as it's dirty and used, the car seats have left a little crease in the seat. Usually we have a seat cover in here to protect from the car seats. The handles that I use all the time to try to get to the tent, to fix the kids when they needed things, they're all good. They're solid. You can shake the whole Bronco. You know, when the Bronco first came out, everybody was like, there's no cup holders in the back. And for the longest time, I was like, we have cup holders. But we could never use them because there's usually a car seat sitting right here. And as much as I'm sure everybody wanted those, you could have had these because nobody's ever used them. All right, now for one of my favorite parts of the Bronco is the back. We usually have a lot more tools in here, but it's kind of empty right now. As much fun as we've had in the past 2 years, all of it has been about making friends, about this community, about the fact that we can call people in Texas, we can call people in North Carolina, we can call people in Washington, and we just call them all friends. This is our Bronco family. So we started out with this sticker and grew from there, and I hope that if you don't see yours, you'll send us yours. We have room for more Broncos. Honestly, the hardtop glass is fine. This is scratched and muffed from bags of in and out all the time, going camping, going on trips, but nothing's broken yet. The only issue that we've seen with the tailgate is because it's all out of whack and out of alignment. This top edge right here has been rubbing, and it's probably worse over here in the corner where it sticks out against the hardtop. But aside from that, it's all still good. Now for probably the most important thing, because if you don't have a Bronco that turns on and runs, then you probably can't go on many adventures. Let's talk about the powertrain.
So realize the only thing we hadn't really covered yet was the hardtop for the exterior. This hardtop has been awesome. Absolutely have loved it. We are glad we do not have the soft top, and that's why we waited 2 years for this Bronco, was because I wanted this, I wanted the PPF, and I wanted a hitch. Anyway, we're gonna replace this hardtop with an Armadillo Designs hardtop at some point, but for a factory OEM top, we specifically have had very good luck with this. Couple little issues, you know, things happened at some point. I don't know what happened here, but it's like a dent, but that's neither here nor there. Hardtop's been fine. No issues, no rainstorms inside the cab. Everything's been nice. Now, powertrain. This Bronco has the V6 or the 2.7 liter. It's almost like a extra big 2 liter, you know. This thing has enough power to get out of its own way for the most part. But come on, Ford, coming from a guy that wants to go zoom, zoom fast, where's the coyote in the Bronco? I mean, Ford, if I can challenge you on anything, 2025, better yet, 2026, because then maybe I could afford another one at that point. Put a coyote in this thing. You will sell boatloads of the thing versus what you've already done. And the Bronco is already so popular. You put a coyote in it, you'll sell tenfold, guaranteed. Hit me up if you have any questions. I can help you design how to put it in there. Just need a little compensation for that. Anyway, the 2.7 liter has been awesome. For any form of like factory recalls or anything on this Bronco, we've had almost zero. The seat belts, like Monica talked about, that's been honestly about it. Now, we did add a few things. I told you we wouldn't talk about the aftermarket stuff, just what the Bronco is, but I think it is worth mentioning. I did put a catch can on here because, you know, the oils and things, I just don't think it's, You know, why would you eat what you put in the toilet? Gross, right? You don't want your motor doing the same thing. Let those oils settle down so it doesn't have to reburn that. Just my opinion. The turbos have been awesome, no issues. All the sensors have worked, zero problems that way. As far as our 10-speed transmission, I love putting the thing in manual mode and just letting her sing, because that's where the power's at with the V6, because it's not a Coyote. It's held up awesome. There's been a couple times though in the really cold weather that I have had a few like weird shifting issues, but there again, it was super cold. Fluids don't like to get moving as quick in the cold, and so I think it was just the elements we were in. I don't think it was the Broncos' fault. In the engine bay, less is more. One thing I love is Ford gave us the option to have auxiliary switches. I have seen some Broncos that you have not taken care of your wiring. Man, clean it up. When you're wiring stuff, take the time to do it right. I have a problem with it, so I've redone this wiring like 60,000 times just to make it cleaner and simpler. The fact is when this Bronco goes into Ford to get serviced, I don't want them opening up the hood and going, holy crap, there's some problems here, and I think the owner caused it, and giving them the excuse to say, this isn't under warranty because of you. Let's face it. So clean up your wiring, your auxiliary switches, they're there for a reason. Make sure to run that stuff as nice as possible. If you don't have a friend that can run it nice as possible, call a different one. Like, come on. The motor power has been awesome. No issues there. Now, let's talk about axles. We got a Sasquatch Bronco. Front drive unit is an M210. What's that mean? I don't know. But it has an E-locker, which is cool. And it goes into four-wheel drive, which is really cool. So I really appreciate the M210. Now, that has been the only thing to date after 60,000 miles, almost, that we have actually broken on this Bronco. We actually didn't break it in a cool manner. Typically you're off-road and something pops and gives and grinds and kapow. Well, we were driving down the road and almost right at the floorboard where the pedals are, you could just feel a thump, thump, thump. It was almost like you make a little tune out of it and it was a song. The faster you'd go, the faster the thump. Well, it really got annoying. So we took it into Ford and said, hey, I think we got a problem. They didn't ever take apart the front drive unit when they replaced it under warranty, which made me sad because I wanted to know what failed. But here's my paper math on what happened. I think I sheared a gear off of the ring gear because as we would drive, it was a very delayed thump. And with how big the ring gear is, I feel like it would hit the bad spot, come back around eventually and hit it again. So there again, in turn, the faster you go, the faster the thump. Well, I can't confirm that because they didn't tear it apart, but they replaced it under warranty with no questions asked. There again, I feel like that's a dealer thing. If you have a good dealership that will take care of you, even though you've modified your vehicle, you know, best of luck to you. May the odds be ever in your favor, because some dealerships would look at this thing and go, it's heavily modified, BS, we're not touching it. I'm on a 35 factory tire size. It might not be the factory tire. I've got 1.5 inch body lift on this. I've got a few little motor upgrades. I don't have anything suspension upgraded other than steering rack, things like that, but that's not suspension, that's steering. See what I'm saying? It's stock for the most part. We've got some things, but it's nothing that would cause damage like that to occur. Now, let's go around and let's talk about your rear end. With the rear of the Bronco, because we have Sasquatch package, we have a Ford 8.8. What's that mean? Again, I don't know, but it's got a factory E-locker, and in the rear, we haven't had any issues. Shocker. I feel like we know how to off-road this rig well enough that you can prevent some problems. But because we knew of some problems that could happen with the rear end, the big one being the axle tubes. So to prevent our axle tubes from twisting, we did the wrong thing. right at the axle tube and the cast differential, we just put a big old fat bead of weld in there. We preheated it. We just, you know, did it the right way. And we haven't had a single issue with the rear end breaking loose. Is that something you need to do? Probably not. If you're gonna off-road like me, probably should. You know, it's hard to say on that. As far as the rear end, the only thing we have changed is the track bar and the upper and lower arms. We went with a Metalcloak adjustable one. The reason we did that was because they're a solid bar and they're adjustable. The factory ones are hollow. We've actually seen Broncos bend them on the trails. Just didn't want any part of that. So upgrade before it breaks. I've been a big proponent of that with these vehicles. We know the problems. There's enough content out there about them that if you have a problem, or if you don't, change it before it happens. I get it. Everybody's on a budget. That's why this thing has been a slow progression to get where we're at. And in summary, I'm very happy with the Bronco. I have not had any major issues or major complaints. Now, we all could sit down and talk about, yeah, I would have done this different. I would have done that different. I would have put a Coyote in it. You know, the manufacturers did what they did because this was ultimately the product they wanted to push to the public. So let's get Miss Monica in here, get our final opinions on our Bronco that we waited 2 years for, and we've now put 60,000 miles on it and have had nothing but fun with this thing. Come on, Miss Monica, come here. Here she is. What do you think about the Bronco in general? Like overall synopsis. Give us the diagnosis.
The diagnosis is I'm attached to this hunk of metal.
The fender?
The
hood.
This hunk of metal, not the hood.
The whole hunk of
That's
metal.
kind of scratchy.
I wish I was metal.
I love this Bronco. We waited 2 years. I have loved the Bronco name since I was just a teenager. And having waited 2 years for this thing, we've had nothing but fun. We've gone to Lord knows how many states over and over again, and I wouldn't trade it in for anything.
Mainly because we're upside down on the payments. The fact of the matter is you buy a new vehicle, you drive it off the lot. Good luck. You'll never get that money back. But we've learned over the last couple years of ownership of this, money, it comes, it goes. You work hard, you bust your butt to earn a good, solid living. You got to have fun.
Short.
It's too short, you know?
Don't wait till you're 60 to go have fun.
Yeah, you
That's
know, as much as I could definitely hang out and teach the kids like in-home stuff and like around the house, you know, electrical and plumbing and, you know, those kinds of things, that comes with time. That comes with growing up. You know, you buy your first home, you got to learn those kind of things or pay a professional to come in and do it. With the Bronco, I feel like we're teaching and hopefully guiding them with more life skills. We're going out, meeting friends. My kids will run up and jibber jabber your ear off because you have a Bronco.
Yeah.
That's the things that we've seen our family grow because of this over the last 2 years. Now, is it because of the Bronco name? Could we have got a Jeep and done the same thing?
Probably.
Probably. The Jeep community is just as big, just as strong. But like ourselves, I feel like there was a lot of people that wanted to off-road and do things with their family. But Jeep just was kind of been there, done that. You know, we owned a Jeep. It was great. Never really did much with it other than hunt and fish out of the thing.
Yeah.
But when Bronco hit the market, it was a breath of fresh air to us. Probably to you as well. That's why you're watching this. We got the Bronco, we hit the ground running, and have had nothing but fun with this, with our family, and now our Bronco family friends. You know, I've met some of the greatest people ever.
Yeah.
You know, and without this Bronco, probably wouldn't even know them, which is unfortunate because there's some cool people out there. We say it every time. Get off your couch and create an adventure. I don't need you to go spend $65,000 on a vehicle to create an adventure like we did. But if you got kids, if you've got that drive, go out, take them to the park, go and walk around the yard, you know, do something with them. And that's what we hope to push to this community is do something. anybody can hang out on the couch, and there'll be time for that. You know, sun goes down, it's dark,
Sure.
it's rainy, it's dreary outside. Hang out. We do it. Believe me.
Sometimes we go drive through a puddle.
Yeah, exactly. This Bronco has done that for us, and all in all, I absolutely love it. There's things I would change if I could, but we can't. There's always that case. I could have done this better, or you could have done it better. I'm sure. But with what Ford has gave us right here, not given, but provided, yeah, it's just created a whole bucket load of fun. So
2 years in, 60,000 miles.
and they're not stopping here, believe me.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll be putting a motor in this thing and a transmission and all the stuff when it wears out, but hopefully that's not until like the 200,000 mile review.
Yeah, give it time.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Comment down below. If you've stuck around this long in the video, thank you. We want to know, what next point should we do a review on this Bronco? I feel like 80,000 miles, but maybe you'd
100?
rather see 100. Maybe you'd rather wait till like 120. But the thing is comment it quick, because by time this hits, we might already be at 100, 120. We drive the snot out of this thing. Plus, we probably won't be accurate when we do the review. So this 50, 60,000 mile review is for you guys. Let us know what you think. Get off your couch, go and create an adventure.
We'll see you next time.
Bronco adventures.
Let's go. Get in. Hey, Fabian, what's happening? Yeah, we're going to get an Armadillo hardtop. SEMA? You want this thing to be in SEMA?